Today, I take up the very important question which all the students face, and especially I'm talking about students of literature, how to write an answer. Now, when we are talking about this answer, we are talking about the subjective answer, the descriptive answers. Now, if you are writing an answer, a very good answer will have three parts: an introduction, a subject matter, and a conclusion. Now, what would you write in an introduction? Introduction is a very essential part of an answer. An introduction should include biographical details about the author or the poet, depending upon the question you have been asked. About his works, you must mention what were the greatest works which he had written, the genre he belongs to, what does he write? Does he write prose, poetry, drama? His age. Now, when we are talking about the age, all the students of literature know that an age refers to the century he belongs to. Was it 14th or 16th, 17th, 18th, depending upon which age. His specialization, you must talk about the specialization he had. Was he specializing in poetry? If it was poetry, what kind of poetry was he specializing in? Was it romantic poetry? Was he a classical? Whichever genre he belonged to, you must talk about that. Then you must talk about the major influences in his life, be it people, be it books, be it some things which occurred in his life, whatever. You must mention that also. The last few lines of the introduction should include the particular work about which the question has been posed. Now, always keep your question in mind. Now, if your question talks about the poet as a romantic poet and a particular poem has been asked, suppose you're talking about Ode to the West Wind, you must first talk about Shelley and then you talk about romantic poetry about which the question has been posed. So the question must be kept in mind all the time. Now, after you have written about the poet, you have written about his works, you have written about the genre he belonged to, you must talk in a sentence or two about the particular poem or the particular work he is talking about, the question is asking about. It should introduce the work and turn your answer towards what has been asked. So the last two sentences of your introduction must talk about the work mentioned in the question. It should take that answer in that direction. Now, next comes the subject matter. So, what do you have in the subject matter? First of all, remember all the answers must be written in points. You must use points in the subject matter. The points should be arranged sequentially so as to lead to a logical conclusion at the end. One point should lead on to the other, then to the other, then to the other. It should be a sequence, a logical arrangement, remember. Do not jump from one point to another without any interconnection. Use quotations, examples for each point to substantiate what you say. Remember, quotations and examples are very essential. Now, use quotation marks to highlight your quotes. Whenever you are making a quotation, remember to use quotation marks. And how do you use a quotation mark? You change the line and then you use a quotation mark and then you write the quotation. Now, one thing to be remembered here is quotation marks must be used only when you remember the quotation exactly the way it has been said. If you do not remember it the way it has been said, please do not make use of the quotation marks. Now, quotations, what kind of quotations can you use? You can use quotations from the text from which the question has been asked. Secondly, you can use quotations from famous critics. Now, underline the points to draw attention. The points you are mentioning in the answer should be underlined so that the examiner's attention is drawn to it. Keep the question you are answering always in mind. This is very essential. You must always remember that you are answering this particular question. Next, after you finish the entire subject matter, you come to the conclusion. Now, this brings you to the end of your answer. It may be the conclusion or the summation, as we say. It may start with words like, I've given you a few pointers. You can start your conclusion with therefore or thus we see that. You may also use we may say that, or you may say in conclusion it may be stated that. So, you have got 4 ways in which you may start your conclusion. Now, there are some things I would like you to keep in mind. Never address the examiner. Do not use words like you will find, you know that, These things, these usages are a direct address to the examiner. You must not use it. Never make use of first person. I feel, I think. You should not write that way. Instead, you make usage like the reader feels, the reader thinks. Refrain from making illogical or sweeping statements like all poets are romantics. Do not make statements like these. Do not waste too much time on one answer because there are more to write. Remember always. Now remember, never think you can fill pages with gibberish and get away with it. Many students have the tendency of writing just anything to fill up the pages. Don't do that. Marks are not awarded on the number of pages you fill but on the quality of the answer. Be careful not to make spelling errors and grammatical mistakes. Stick to your tenses. If you begin an answer in the present tense, continue that way. Students have the tendency to keep on changing the tenses, forgetting about what tense they used in the previous paragraph, and they end up using many tenses in a single answer. Please do not do that. Now, one very important thing I would like to remind you is time management. Do not waste too much time on one answer because there are more to write, as I said earlier also. Practice time management by writing your answers at home and seeing how much time you are taking. Divide equal amount of time for each answer of the same marks, like for a 3 hours paper in which you have 3 lengthy questions and 10 MCQs to solve. You may spare 20 minutes for MCQs and do a bit of thinking before answering, and 50 minutes to each of the long questions, and keep 10 minutes for revision. You must revise your answers before you finally submit them. There's a memory tip I have for you. The best way to remember your answer is to read it over and over again. Do not memorize. When you memorize something mechanically, you tend to lose the thread of your answer if you forget even a single word of it. And then you are left imagining or trying to recollect, and you are not able to do it, and you are in great distress because of that. So, understand what you are reading and trying to memorize. If something is very difficult to memorize, read it as the last thing at night, just before sleeping, and it will seep into your brain very easily. But you must do nothing between reading and sleeping, remember that. So, you read it, keep your copy apart, and go off to sleep immediately. And this will help you to remember a lesson which is very difficult to remember. Now, interpolated activity refers to the work done between studying and taking an exam. That in between time. If you give a final revision to your answers and directly sit for your exams, you will remember a greater part of your answer than if you do something in between reading your answer and taking your exams. So, whenever you read, like even as I said at night, if you are reading your answer which you are finding very difficult to remember, if you're reading it last thing in the night and immediately going off to sleep, there are more chances of remembering it rather than if you read your answer, watch television, have your dinner, then go off to sleep. That interpolated activity in between is going to take away a part of the answer from the memory. So, as I said, the best thing is you read it the last thing in the night, keep your copy apart, and finally go off to sleep. Remember one thing, originality always counts. Be original in your answers. Do not write what 20 more are writing because you got your answers from the same places. Make your own answers, or at least reform them. Answer to the point. Do not beat around the bush. You must not make errors in your answers. Your spellings, your grammatical errors must not be made. You must be very correct when you are writing, because you are writing answers for English and not for any other subject, although correct writing counts for all the subjects. Now, I hope you are prepared for your exams by now. Best of luck for your exams. If you've got any questions with regard to the preparation of your answers, you may leave it in the segment below and I shall answer them. Thank you.